Hello, welcome back to my channel. I don't typically do these types of videos, as you know. My channel is typically just about my journey to healthy, but I do kind of add in sometimes some organizational stuff, some planner stuff. So I had some people ask me if I would do some book reviews, so I thought, why not? I will just add this into my channel as well, which is perfect timing because over the last several years, I have kind of got off of my, of reading. I used to read so much. If you look at my Goodreads, you'll see like my past challenges. I have read a ton, but these last several years, I've gotten out of the habit. I love to read. I miss reading. So I set myself a personal goal this year to read 4 books a month. I just want to ease myself into it. I know I can read more than that, but I just wanted to give myself a goal that I could know that I could accomplish. I actually, as you'll see, I've been doing really well. I'm going to talk right this video will be about my January, ones I read in January. I'm a little bit behind, but it just took me a little bit. I'm not used to doing this type of thing. I don't typically even write reviews on Goodreads. So speaking of Goodreads, I always have my Goodreads link down below. So it's a really good website where you can track the books you're reading. You can find information about books to read. I have been using it for years and years and years and years. So follow me on there if you are on Goodreads. If you're not, check it out and go see if you want to use it because I highly recommend it for people who read a lot. Also, where do I get my books? Typically, I get them from Amazon. I put a lot of books on my wish list. So whenever I see a book on Goodreads that I want, I'll go over to Amazon, usually put it on my wish list. And that wish list, I connect to a thing that's called, I believe it's called like e-reader IQ, something like that. I will link it down below. Let me know if I forget to link that. But I have my wish list linked to that website. What that website does is it will look at your wish list and it'll let you know if a book goes on sale. And I think you can set the threshold, like let me know if the book goes under $2.99, that kind of thing. Like I think you set it for what you wanted to tell you. And then what it does is when that book goes on sale, then it sends you an email saying books on your wish list are on sale. And I kind of have my threshold set on like around $4.99, $5.99, so I don't like to pay more than that for a book. And right now I just do e-readers, and that is just because I've always lived in places where I haven't had any room to have a bookcase. And for years I bought books, like exclusively before e-readers were a thing. I just exclusively bought books, and I had cases and cases and cases of books that I would drag everywhere. Finally, the last move that we did not before this last move, but the move before that, I finally donated all my books and just said, I can't move these all over the place. I do have a few like books that I get, but they're usually typically from subscribers who know that I like to read and they've sent me some of their favorite books. So those are really the only physical books I have, but for the most part it's e-readers. So I will, as I talk about the book, I will pop a picture up of the book, but I will have them also linked down below. But check out that e-reader thing. It is so cool. It's a very cool thing. So that way you don't have to always constantly go on to Amazon and see what's on sale. I also have my Amazon set up where it sends me emails when certain books just go on sale in general that are ones that it looks at like my history of my wish list and my history of buying books, and it will send me books based on like my general, what kind of books I usually buy. So I have it all set up to do that too. So I do get emails every day from Amazon, and it usually just starts with these books are 99 cents and up. And typically the books are not over $2.99 on that email list. And then when you click on that, it takes you to the whole list of books that are on sale for like 99 cents. There's also, through Amazon Prime, you can get free books. There's certain books and magazines that you can get for free with your Amazon Prime membership. So check that out. And there's a thing called Kindle Unlimited through Amazon that you pay, I think it's $9.99 a month, but if you've never done it before, you can do a 30-day free trial, but you pay the $9.99 a month, and there's certain books that are part of that Kindle Unlimited where you can get the books for free. So you can check out those sources as well. Plus you have your local library. Most local libraries do e-reader books as well. Or, right now I don't know if some people's libraries are open. Ours is not, but they're doing like a drop-off service so you can go online, order the books, and then go pick them up. So there's that option too. Okay, let's get into the book reviews. Little disclaimer, I'm not a book reviewer typically. I just like books. So it's gonna probably take me a few months to get into the groove of this. So over here, if you see me look over here, it's because I'm using my Google Keep to keep track of the books I read each month, and I'm just kind of writing some stuff about the books. I hate giving out spoilers about books. I love to go into a book not knowing anything but what's on the cover, or the, you know, on the synopsis of the book, so like the back of the book. So I'm not going to give you any more information than that. I like to go into a book not knowing, because I feel like that's the best way to do it. So you will not have any spoilers in this. And I'll tell you what stars I gave it on Goodreads and why I gave you those stars. And I will have all these books linked down below. So for the month of, so just give me some grace on how I'm presenting this video. This first one will probably be the longest one out of all of them because of all that pre-stuff. Okay, so I read 6 books in January, so my goal was 4, so I did really good. And these were all super good books. Like, it was a good month of reading. The first book I read in the month was called Final Girls by Riley Sager. I had never read anything by Riley Sager. I don't know if it's a male or female, so I'm not going to say he or she. I believe somebody said in a review that I read that this was the first book, like their debut novel, but there are other books out there by this person. And everybody's telling me that all of them are good. So I do have some of those on my wish list right now. Final Girls, I gave it 5 stars. The story is about 3 soul survivors. So we have Quincy, Sam, and Lisa. And they all are survivors of their own like murder spree that happened. So they all happened years apart from each other. So they weren't together. So they were the sole survivor of these mass murder sprees that happened. And it was the media that dubbed them the Final Girls. So the news talks about them all the time. They're in the news during the anniversaries of these murder sprees. I am a huge fan of horror movies, if you didn't know. And this is definitely like a B movie slasher flick. I mean, honestly, that's what it reminded me of. Not that B movie horror movies are bad. I like them. So it just reminded me of that as I read it. And I always had that in my mind. So it was really good to me. Like, it moved quickly. So in this book, there's really 2 stories going on. There's one in present day, things that are happening in present day. And then the other one is Quincy trying to remember what happened. She has no memory of what happened to her on that night that she survived. So it's kind of going back in the past of her remembering what happened, and present day that she doesn't want to remember what happened. But what happens is one of the final girls, one of the 3, mysteriously dies. Then the other final girl shows up to meet Quincy, and that's where she's starting to try to remember things because of the mystery around the other one dying. When the 2 get together, that's really when the book starts going along, because it is a little bit slow in the beginning, but once those 2 kind of get together, then things really start to move, and it starts to get really interesting, and it really starts to pick up the pace. But just hang in there. It's really good. So if you start it, just hang in there and try to get through the beginning part, because it gets good. It really gets good. This book had me guessing like all the way through it, and that's really my criteria for a 5-star mystery thriller book. Is if I can't guess the ending, then I give it 5 stars. I mean, as long as the rest of the book was good as well. So if I can guess it throughout the end, it's probably not going to get 5 stars. But if it kept me guessing till the very end and I could not figure out the plot twists and all the twists and turns and roller coaster ride they put you on, then it is a 5-star book all the way. And honestly, this one would make a good movie too. I think this would make a really good movie. I have not looked out there to see if it was, but this was definitely a 5-star rating for me. I did not predict the ending, so let me know if you've read this book, but like I said, I will have it linked down below. The second book I read was called The Last Flight by Julie Clark. Again, I've never read anything by this author. This book is about 2 women. We have Claire and we have Eva. They are both trying to escape their current lives. Claire, she has a abusive husband that she's trying to escape. Eva, I don't want to give out her story because you want to go into it not knowing, but she also has a situation in her life she is trying to get away from. They have this chance encounter at the airport bar, and they tell their stories, and they ended up swapping their plane tickets, and that way they can start over their lives in their different places. So Claire is going to Oakland, California, and Eva is going to Puerto Rico, and then that's when things get crazy. So Claire is watching the news and sees that the plane went down that goes to Puerto Rico. So she is declared dead in the news media. So she has to take over Eva's life. And Eva's life is not as simple as she thinks it is. I don't want to give away any more plot details because I really want you going into this not knowing anything about Eva, not really knowing the whole story about Claire. The characters in this are so well developed. You really get invested in them. It moves really quickly. It goes between the two. So you have Claire, you have Eva. So it goes between the two. It does go back in past tense and present day, which is fine because the writer is excellent at writing that. You don't get lost in what's past and what's present. The characters, like I said, are so well developed. You get invested in them. You want to know what happens. This was so fast paced. I did not want to put it down. I think I read this in a day and a half. It is an excellent book, 5 stars, easy 5-star rating for me because I did not see hardly any of the twists and turns coming. It was good, so check it out. Book number 3 for the month was The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I gave this 4 stars. This story is about a wedding that is taking place on a remote island off the coast of Ireland. I almost forgot where it was at, off the coast of Ireland. It's a very character-driven book. It's easy to get invested in the characters. You have the bride, the groom, the wedding planner, the +1, as they call it, the best man. Everyone has a secret, and of course, all their secrets start to come unraveled, and throughout the entire book, I mean, people are finding out about this secret and this secret, and the secrets are crazy secrets. I mean, they're not just like, no, they're crazy, and you don't see them coming all the time. But it all begins when the bride receives an anonymous note about her groom or her husband-to-be, like basically like, don't marry him. And that's kind of where a lot of the stuff starts to unravel. And of course, we have a remote island and a wedding with lots of guests and secrets, so no surprise that we're going to have a dead body and who killed that person. And that's what the book's about. This was a solid 4-star for me. It was an addicting read, but there were 2 things that had issues with it that kept it from being 5 stars. The first one was there are so many point of views through this book. Each chapter is pretty much a different person alternating throughout the book. I think there's like 6 point of views if I remember right. And so that kind of, a lot of times that slows the flow of the book. You kind of forget who you're on, and when you are, sometimes I have to scroll back up to see, okay, who are we? Okay, that's who we're talking about. So sometimes it would switch so quickly that I would forget about that person. So that's one thing that makes it, if the flow doesn't go and I have to kind of go back, then sometimes that takes away from the 5 stars. Also, the suspense was a little slow burning. I'm so used to those fast-paced, quick mystery thrillers, and this I felt like was along the lines of like an Agatha Christie whodunit. And those to me tend to be just a little bit slower paced. But it was a good burn. It really was. It's a good book. It's entertaining. It kept me interested throughout the entire book. It just, for those 2 reasons, it was a 4-star instead of a 5-star. I did not guess the ending. I did not guess who done it. I did not even guess who was killed. I mean, it did keep you guessing, and it was just having those multiple point of views made it just a little hard for the flow to go through, but definitely a solid read. I have never read anything from Lucy Foley before. I understand there's another book that is really popular from hers as well. I haven't picked that one up yet. But let me know if you've read anything else from her, and if that other book, what is it called? The Hunting Party, if that one is worth picking up to read. Book number 4 is The Cellar by Natasha Preston, and that's cellar as in C-E-L-L-A-R, so it's like the cellar of a house. This book was not that great. So it's about 16-year-old Summer who is kidnapped. She's from a small town, so almost immediately investigation starts, search parties start, but there is absolutely no trace of Summer at all. So let's first start off with the positives. What's good about this book? The best thing about this book is it jumps right into the action. I mean, immediately right into the action, you're getting going. There's no building up to the situation that happens. There's no scene setting. It just gets right into the action. Okay, the plot of this book is great. It's fantastic. This could be an amazing book. But what did I not like? I wasn't too fond of the writing. I mean, remember when I said there's no scene setting? There's no scene setting, like absolutely no scene setting. So it's, I mean, just there's nothing. There's not even any character development. You don't even know what the characters look like. There's no description of the characters. They don't describe anything. When I'm reading a book, I like to be able to picture the characters. I couldn't do that because they didn't even describe them. I mean, there was just no development at all of these characters, and that is such a miss for this story that could be so, so good. The same scenes were repeated over and over again. I mean, it was just like you knew when it popped over to that point of view in that situation, you knew it was going to happen because it already happened like 5 times previously in the book. I skimmed through a lot of it. Actually, when I knew, I mean, I read fast and just kind of skimmed over a lot of things like, yep, knew that was going to happen. Okay, yep. So a lot of that was really disappointing. I originally gave this book 3 stars because I did like the premise of it. I liked the plot, and I thought it had so much potential. But as I was writing this review and like thinking of my thoughts about it, I ended up changing it to 2 stars. There was just way too many plot holes, way too much repetition. The characters were not developed. Apparently there's a second book to this because on Goodreads it's called The Sailor #1. So apparently there's a second book. I don't know what the second book could be. And honestly, like, I am not even like tempted to pick it up. So I don't know. Let me know if you've read this book because I'd be curious to hear your thoughts about it. But yeah, I don't know. Unless it's free, I really would not recommend this book. Book number 5 is TheOne by John Marrs. I was familiar with this author. I have read at least one of his books previously. I don't remember which one it was. It's been several years. This one was really good. A simple DNA test is all it takes, a quick mouth swab, and you will be matched with your perfect partner, the one that you are genetically made for. This book is about a program called Match Your DNA. So this book follows 6 people that were matched, but are they really their soulmates? Are they really their perfect match? Because we know that everyone has their secrets, and honestly, some of these secrets are shocking. You would think that this was going to be a romance book. Nope, because even when you read the blurb, you think it's going to be a romance book. And I thought that, and I thought, oh, well, this sounds interesting. Again, this is one of those books with a lot of POVs. So you have points of view from, I think, all 6 of the characters. That's a lot. And with these characters, that's kind of where I got lost in this book, where it is not a 5-star for me. I don't even remember the characters. I couldn't even tell you the name of one of the characters. Like, I think I know the name of one of them. I know about the characters. Like, I know the situations for the characters. Like, I know what each one of them, what their jobs were and how they connected to each other and how, who they are in the book, but I couldn't tell you their names. The characters were so two-dimensional that I just could not get really invested into the characters. But with that being said, this book is entertaining. It's a fast-paced read. It had drama, it had humor, it had suspense. So I do highly recommend this book. It was a solid 4-star for me. The only reason why I didn't get that 5 stars is because of the characters. It wasn't that they were bad characters. The characters were developed where, like, it told you about the characters, but they were just kind of two-dimensional. Just didn't, like I said, I don't remember them. They were not memorable, but it's a good book and it's entertaining, and I really liked the premise of it. The plots were really good. It did not really have any holes in it. It was a good, solid 4-star read for me. So definitely check it out. John Marrs is a good writer. He writes really well, so check it out. Let me know if you've read anything else by him because I am interested in any of his other books. Book number 6, so the last book that I read in January, was called Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. Again, I think I had read that this was their debut novel. Again, I don't know if this is a male or a female author, but I heard that this was the first author. I think there's other books, though, this person has out there, so I'm not sure what year this book is by. That's another thing is I collect so many books. Like I said, I buy them as they are on sale and stuff, and so a lot of times I have a huge amount of books between my Apple Book app and my Kindle app on my iPad, so I just go in there and just see what I have out there. And so this was one of those ones that was out there. I don't know how old the book is, but I heard that this was the debut novel. So Behind Closed Doors. This book is about Jack and Grace. On the outside, they seem like this happy, happy couple. They are never apart, always together. Always together. So does that mean true love, or does that mean something else? This is a mystery thriller, so you can probably guess that it probably means something else. The writing in this book is excellent. Like I have gone on and looked for other books by this author that I have on my wish list, because the writing is so good. The character development, excellent. All the characters, you love or hate them, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So there's, you know, they're all out there. They're exactly out there how the author wanted you to either hate them or love them, be annoyed with them. It's all there. All the feelings are there about the characters. The author honestly set up the story perfectly. It starts out perfectly, and then it really gets you going into the actual, you know, book. It's creepy. One of the main characters, he is creepy. But I'm not going to say anything else, because honestly, like, this book had me from beginning to end. There was not a lot on the synopsis of this book, so you go in totally blind, and it captures you from beginning to end. I read this book in like one day because I could not put it down. This is one of those books that I stayed up way too late reading, but it was so good. So yeah, and this has to be movie too. Like, I feel like almost every book that I've been reading lately, it needs to be a movie. So yeah, I don't know. Did I tell you that it was 5 stars? Because yeah, this was definitely an easy 5-star read for me. But yeah, definitely check it out. One of the things I did not give you in any of these book reviews, there are some trigger warnings in these books. I will go ahead and list any of those next to the books down below in the description box, because I think it's important to let you know that there may be certain situations in the books that may trigger something for people, and I think it's important that you know that. But there you go. There are my January book reviews. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not like a book reviewer. I'm not one of those YouTube book reviewers out there. There's some excellent ones out there. I watch a lot of them, so I apologize, but hopefully I got you excited enough for these books, because honestly, out of the 6 books, there's 5 of them I think you should read. Next month, I've already actually started my reviews for February. Since we are like 11 days into February, I have already read 2 books. I'm on my 3rd book, and I'm already starting to write those reviews, and there's actually going to be some different genres. It's not only thriller and mystery in the month of February, so you will be seeing some other genres out there. I'm reading some romance books, so I will talk about those in next month's book review. Let me know if you liked this video. Please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.